Next vintage gear review, and if you notice, I am not at the bar downstairs. Excuse me while I adjust my microphone here. But actually, this one I've been listening to because I was doing some work to what's normally in this position in the rack, and it's a Sony TA1120A, which I just wrapped up a gear review on. So I thought I'll do the Kenwood next because I actually talked about this in the video. So this is a 1969-ish Kenwood KA 6000. Capacitor coupled receiver, 45 watts per channel. Can also be found under the brand Trio. Trio Kenwood in the 60s, 70s. I think Trio was, I don't know if it was the Japanese brand or the overseas brand or the Asian market brand. I'm not sure how that all worked back then, but you can find these as Kenwood or Trio. That's the point. This was a part of a line, from what I understand, that Trio Kenwood started to compete with the high-end Sony, what now is referred to as Sony ES, right? Like the TA1120, like my John Lennon receiver, the 6120 up there, which I'll be doing a video on eventually. So these were definitely, whoops, sorry about that. I hate these lavalier mics. I don't want to stick to my shirt at all. It's like if I move, it just jumps off. But anyway, they were competing with high-end Sony. This was kind of their attempt to do that. And that a little bit. As mentioned, 45 watts per channel into 8 ohms. The build quality on this is exceptional. I will have a repair series on this to talk about the state that I got this in and what I did to it. I'm going to cut to the chase. This is a fantastic amplifier. I am so surprised. It's the best sounding Kenwood I have ever worked on. I've worked on the big 9600, 9500, whatever, 9050. Kenwood 11s, you've seen a couple of videos. This sounds better than all of them. But I'm a cap coupled fan, so naturally this is probably going to sound better to my ears. But this is just an amazing, fantastic amplifier. I can't speak highly enough about it. I could leave this here in place of the Sony TA1120, or I could probably do a blind head-to-head, and I probably would not be able to tell the difference between the two. This thing is it's amazing. It's an amazing sounding amplifier. And it's just the aesthetic. I love the aesthetic of the late 60s gear, right? Now in terms of usability, it's simple, right? Just like everything else. It's got basic RCA connections in the back. Nothing super tricky back there that you have to figure out or somehow try to deal with. It does have the screw type terminals, but they're slotted with a hole, so it secures the cables really nice. The control layout you can see is really easy. So we have power, speaker A, B, A and B, and then headphones. We have the two-tone controls. We have off, bass and treble, or bass or treble, which is very interesting. So it's not just tone controls off or on, but you can actually just have the bass tone control and treble be flat, or the opposite. I will be doing a short series on these jewels here. Now notice, if you know anything about these, this came with a bunch of missing jewels. So what I did is, well, I won't steal there's a video that's going to be released on replacing those jewels with some LEDs. So I do talk about that. And I do have these jewels because I'll probably get another one of these and fix it up. But anyway, so you have all these indicator lights or lamps. Volume, and then balance is the inner ring. That's the volume control. You have muting, loudness, high-low filter, two different low filters and then a high filter. Then you have your selector switch. I was listening to tape. So you've got kind of like some of the old Pioneers. If you want to listen to stereo, it's basically stereo for anything other than tape, right? So if you want to listen to tape, then you got to switch it to stereo. Because notice how I have an HD tape, but that's not a line level tape. So I listen to the line level tape, which the control is over here. So that's kind of a goofy setup for that. In terms of ease of service, this is really easy to work on. In the video series, you will see me removing some boards. It has a combination of really stuff that's really easy to get to, stuff that's really difficult to get to. So like the amp and preamp board is slotted, goes right into a slot. So does this selector board up here. The volume control is kind of easy to get to. The tone control board is a pain in the butt to get to because it's wired to some resistors on the actual potentiometers. I'll try to snap some pictures as I go through, like the preamp board and then this board here and, volume and tone control. I'll just kind of flash up some images so you can see what I contended with when I was, or had to contend with when I was working on this. But it's a pretty easy amplifier to work on. Lots of bad transistors though. So things to look out for in terms of servicing this, I would say it's kind of an intermediate, just because you do have to kind of mess with some goofy stuff up here. If you get one of these, they're full of KS or 2SC 458s. This one was very noisy, so I had to go through and replace all of those transistors on all the boards to get rid of the popping and the staticky noise. So at a minimum, you're going to have to do that. I haven't recapped this yet because it sounds so freaking amazing. So eventually I will recap it, but right now I'm just enjoying it. I mean, I listen to my stuff in my office for about an hour a day, and I cannot get enough of this amplifier. It's that good. It's really just that good. So serviceability, pretty easy. In terms of, things to look for when you're shopping for one of these, naturally you want to make sure you get all the knobs. And these are screw knobs, so you have to actually align them and screw them in. Make sure the knobs are there. So these jewels, so normally this is like a bluish color with an outer ring. And what it is it's a plastic clear peg, more for lack of a better term, that's secured on the back with a little clip. And they're just notorious for being broken because you could just hit one of these or one of them from the side and just snap it. So it's very common to see these with 1, 2, or 3 of these missing, but there's a really easy fix for this. And again, you just take a 3mm LED, cut off the legs, glue these into the holes, right? And then you can kind of pick whatever colors you want. You can do red, blue, you can do a combination, like whatever you want to do. I just stuck with all red, but you could easily do blue. I have blue. I may switch it out on this one or another one if I get bored of red. Who knows? But these will oftentimes be missing. Sometimes the wooden sides are missing, right? And then this top plate is beat up sometimes. So, kind of be aware of those. Make sure all of these buttons look like, or these switches, make sure they look like they're working and they're, the plastic covers or whatever are present on them. Yeah, so that's what I would look out for in one of these if you were to shop for one. And then cosmetics on this. This thing is like mint. It's just beautiful. I got it for a really, really good price. And it's just mint. In terms of pricing information on these, they typically sell for in the $300 to $500 range, kind of like the Sony. And I talked about having a very narrow kind of price range on the Sony. It's the same on this. So whether you get one for parts or you get one that's in mint condition like this, the difference between for parts or not working that I've seen and a mint condition one is only like $200. So, for one of these, I would say hold out for one that's in the best cosmetic condition, and then you'll probably be able to fairly easily sort out whatever's going on in here. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, serviceability. KSC or 2SC 458s. You can substitute those with either KSC 1845s or 1815s. On this, depending upon where the transistor is in the circuit, if you choose the wrong transistor, you're going to encounter issues. I put in 1845s on the amplifier preamp board, and I got some motorboating as a result. And I was like, what is going on? All I did is I replaced the transistors. They were all in the right spot. So I did some research, and basically on this amplifier, You want to use 1815s and not 1845s. The gain is too high on the 1845s. So it causes all sorts of issues. So I know it's a little bit of tech talk, and I actually talk about this, and I will be talking about it whenever I release the video series on this, which will be a while because I've got a ton of stuff in the queue. But that's just something to keep in mind. So again, this is not going to break the bank. It's not going to cost you a lot to get a really, really, really sweet sounding amplifier in really good condition. I mean, this is like a museum piece. This is like my Sony 1120A that I did the review on. These things are like, they're perfect. I mean, they're in perfect condition, near perfect condition. As perfect as something that's probably, you know, more than 50 years old can be. So I wanted to knock this one out real quick before I put the Sony back in here, which I'm in no hurry to do. The Sony may just kind of camp out for a while until I don't know, get bored one day and put it back in here. I have lots of other gear reviews coming up. People seem to like these. I'll just tack a little preview onto the back of this video just to kind of show you what's in the queue. So I finally scored a 6120. So I'll be doing a review on the John Lennon receiver. That's right there. I've got trying to pivot my, I got a Sansui 5000X. I've got a Stereotech. I've got a closet full of crap. Sorry. Don't mean to make anybody dizzy or seasick while I move this around. I just have a lot of gear reviews coming up. A lot of interesting pieces are passing through my hands for repair lately. So, but anyway, that's the Kenwood KA 6000. You know, I didn't really talk about the series much. So they have like the 4002 and the 4004, which are kind of sort of similar in design. This is almost identical to the 5002, the 7002. I'm not sure if I know there's an 8002, but I don't know if it's an integrated amp. I know there's a KM, I think, amplifier that's an 8002. The cap coupled receivers are the 4002, the 5002, and the 6000. And then the 7002 and the 8002 are direct coupled, if I remember correctly. So, but you know, different integrateds in that particular series. And again, I'm late 60s. So I think that's all I have on this one. This was kind of an unorthodox on the fly one. I really didn't do a lot of research. I will include information. I'll flash up images or put little comments on the screen if I got something wrong, which I always do. Because I'm literally always doing this stuff in between 2 or 3 other things that I got going on. So that's going to wrap it up for the Kenwood KA 6000. As always, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.